Hi guys, welcome to Real Football Talk. There's a lot of talking points to be honest. Day of high drama to be honest. In terms of Jose Mourinho getting sacked, more news coming out about the Super League, which we done a video on. So do check it out, guys. There's more news coming out about what the governing body is going to do. There's few comments from the UEFA president coming out. So there's lots to talk about, but we're going to be focusing on the Leeds versus Liverpool game. Even through the drama, really. Cam, what would you make of the Liverpool dominance of the first half?
You know what? I thought this is the Liverpool of old, of last season, shall I say? We were on point. We suffocated them. We were aggressive, and they just couldn't get out. Yeah, they had a couple of chances as well, but generally, I think all our energy went in that first half, and then once we'd scored, obviously halftime, team talk, whatever, we changed our tactics. We went to try and hit them on the counter, giving them the ball, the possession, but we just weren't good enough when we won it back, and we just we lost that momentum, and the more we lose the momentum, the more they gain in confidence.
But I mean, do you reckon whilst you were dominating so much, you needed to take a couple more chances just to give you that breathing space? Because obviously you just mentioned they exerted all their energy within the first half. If that was the game plan initially.
Liverpool, yeah, they should have been out of sight in that first half. They definitely should. I mean, we had some good chances. We just problems of late. We've not been putting the ball in the back of the net, and this was one of those cases. Obviously we got one, but I feel like we could have had a few more, and that two-goal difference would have made a big difference in firstly the confidence of Leeds United, but also the confidence of Liverpool.
I mean, Leeds are a team, Adil, they're like never say die attitude, to be honest. In terms of, I mean, Cam has kind of mentioned a few of the things. With Liverpool, what was the problem of them not finishing off the chances, or was it more down to just what's been happening recently?
No, I mean Liverpool. The thing with Liverpool, what they did was they're tactically very clever because Leeds like to man mark. So what Liverpool did was they were rotating a lot all over the pitch. So what was happening was, Mane's side on the right, he'd come into, Firmino would drop into really deep, Mane would come in, next thing Jota would go in into the central zone and deep, or go as far as on the left. So what was happening, those rotations, even in the middle of the park, other than Milner, who was actually playing more like a left winger. Yeah. So what ended up happening? The formation ended up being actually a wing back system, because Milner was actually effectively playing as a wing back. And if you look at the whole game, only in the second half once Robertson attacked. The whole game he was actually playing like a centre back, and they're keeping three at the back. And I think that was to stop the quick counter attack of Leeds with Douglas Costa. So that nullified the main threat of Leeds, which is, normally be Rafinha, who was a big loss for Leeds today. But what they were doing was Milner was going onto the left wing, and Trent was going on as a right wing back, and they were playing that ball, and they're doing the same move. But what was causing Leeds' problem was the rotations, because they man mark every player. So you had a ridiculous thing where all the centre backs were everywhere, but in defence, because they're man marking Jota, Mane, and it's the same thing was happening in the midfield between Wijnaldum and Thiago. They kept switching positions, so it wasn't just Wijnaldum staying as the defensive mid. When he went straight away, Thiago would rotate in. So what they did, they confused Leeds' back line, but so in terms of the first goal, it worked to perfection, but also that became the problem. Because the opportunities that came, they made the wrong decisions or the wrong pass. There was an easier player to play in. Like one of the times they done a similar move, Trent went in And Firmino's free.
Oh, straight after that. Yeah, straight
Yeah,
after
Yeah,
that.
what
remember
Trent
that.
does is he plays it back towards Jota. Jota skies the shot.
Skies
But
the shot, yeah.
the reason for that is because they're rotating so much, the players don't exactly know where everyone is. Like normally they will know where that player is, where the run is, and they'll do it. And you can see, so it was excellent tactics to dominate the game and to get the first goal. But then it also, I felt like it became a problem for them because they kept picking out the wrong pass because they didn't see the open man all the time. But in terms of first half dominance, it was amazing, and that was the thing. It was actually a 3-5, 3-4-3 system. But the front three were all very narrow, and they kept rotating like 10s. They were all playing as 10s.
I mean, was that the reason maybe, Cam, do you think they dropped Salah because of this new tactical formation that they were doing?
No, I actually think they dropped him because Klopp's got a tendency of doing this with all the strikers every so often, and it just happened to be Salah's turn. I think the thing with Salah, obviously, everyone knows he doesn't like it. Kane obviously getting his 2 goals over the weekend, which put him 2 goals behind on the Golden Boot. So he's obviously come on. Like you probably saw, there's a couple of chances he had, and he could have just squared it. I think the one where the keepers just kicked it straight at him, and he's got Firmino there. I think it's Firmino or Jota.
Yeah.
Was it
Firmino was free.
Yeah,
was slightly behind.
Yeah, and then he's tried to, because he wants that Golden Boot, doesn't he? And look, we're not going to complain too much about Salah because he's the one player. He's the one player who is firing for us. So, but yeah, I think definitely. I doubt it was because he could have done it to Mane. He could have taken Mane off because I think those front 3 or 4 they're quite fluid and they're interchangeable. So you always see in the middle of a game, you see Salah and Mane swap wings and stuff. So I do think that they do that anyway. So I just think it's Salah's turn.
Definitely squad management because you think about it, it was Firmino missed the game, then Jota missed the game, then Mane missed the game, now it's Salah. So it looks like they're just going to keep rotating.
No, the reason I asked is because it is an important game. I mean, a lot of the teams above them lost, so it's a crucial game to win, and they would have been even more in there with the chance, really. In terms of Leeds, I mean, in the first half they showed glimpses of creating some chances. Bamford went through. There was warning signs out there for Liverpool. What did they change in the second half to really kind of create more chances and dominate Liverpool?
So it's a bit of both. What Cam said was Liverpool also changed their tactics too.
Okay.
In the first half, they were heavy, high pressing. The midfield was really high. They were quite physical as well. And they were really bossing Leeds around and quite physical. And the other thing was what that did with Leeds got sucked into that game and trying to play at that tempo, and it helped them to a point for the Bamford chance. But in general, they ended up trying to go toe to toe with Liverpool, and they lost that battle in the first half. Second half, what they did which was clever, was not only did so what Liverpool did, they were still pressing with the front 3, but the midfield was no longer pushing up. The midfield was sitting, but the front 3 were pressing heavily, really like aggressively, the front. But what Leeds did was they completely slowed their tempo down, and they were keeping the ball going side to side along the back and just shifting the back 3. So what that did was that brought the fullbacks into the game. And then what happened, Leeds were quite easily able to get the ball out wide and get crosses in. And then, or either get corners from those crosses or create chances or free kicks, because you're stretching the midfield 3 of Liverpool. And so they, Miller's giving away fouls. They're giving away fouls now. To get it because they're getting stretched. So what happened was, and Leeds took control of the game by actually slowing the tempo down and playing more side to side. In the first half, they got sucked into Liverpool's game and tried playing too central and too vertical. They're trying to get it into Bamford straight away. They're trying to go direct and through the middle too much. Second half, they barely went through the middle once. Everything was wide, switching the play from side to side and using the extra man out wide. But because they're doing it slow, they were tiring the front three out and then stretching the middle three and forcing Trent and Robertson to come out and defend because they're creating overloads. So that was it. And they always looked a threat from set piece. So I wasn't surprised when the goal came from a corner. But the interesting thing, most of the set pieces they took were out swingers. And then they just switched it to an in swinger, and that's the one that ends up,
scoring.
They had good chances from set pieces during the whole second half.
Yeah. I think Leeds missed a trick in the first half. Obviously, they're on the back foot. They should have probably played that long ball more often. And look at the one they did. Bamford got Bamford through, because I think the matchup between Bamford and Kabak, Bamford's winning that all day long. But a few times he pulled out towards Fabinho, and it wasn't so easy there. So they missed a trick there. I think if they targeted Kabak, they would have had a better opportunity of. Second half's different because they controlled the game, obviously. Then
second half, they played the ball over the top of Fabinho a couple of times, and he got caught out.
This is the thing I was going to ask. In terms of Fabinho, it seemed like he's gone back to centre back, and the struggle of Liverpool coming back again. Because we discussed this previously on the talk, where we talked about playing natural defenders there, but Klopp has seemed to decide. I mean, Phillips was out.
Phillips was injured. I think that was the problem. Phillips was injured with a hamstring injury. Yeah. So obviously,
they signed Ben Davis. Why not play him?
Because he hasn't played.
I don't know. I mean, I think Leeds is a tough team to throw someone in against.
Especially as a debut, it's a very tough game. But I do think that
you have to start somewhere. All the Premier League games are tough.
That's true, but start him next season when we're not going for the top four.
He's gonna be sold to Celtic for like 10 mil or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just profit making signing.
Yeah.
In terms of Alisson, he seemed to really keep Leeds out really. Cam, do you think it was more down to Alisson, or was there just poor finishing from Leeds?
I think it's a bit of both. I mean, a couple of saves were sublime because he was given the opportunity to
so you think all the shots were straight at him, though?
One he stuck his foot out, which he was going the wrong way. So I think maybe another keeper might have missed that, whatever. Because the thing with Alisson, which is always in his favour, you don't see him make outstanding saves too often. It's because his positioning is so good. And I think that's what you probably found with some of those chances. Look at the chance in I think was it the first half where Bamford took that extra touch, and then it gave Alisson a chance to come out and smother him, basically. And that's why he saved that. If Bamford hit it first time, then I don't think he would have a chance if he's.
So do you think that's Alisson's weakness then, in terms of when strikers do take an early shot, that's where he gets caught out? And maybe that's what we've seen in the Champions League goal he conceded, and the other goal conceded the week after.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be partly that, but if you look at his mistakes, they've generally come from his feet. It's when he tries to play football. I mean, I can't remember the one where he gets a mix-up with Kabak and tries booting it, and I don't know whatever happened there. I do think there's most of his mistakes have come from his feet. The odd, recently I'd say, with his hands, where one he could have had a stronger fist. Once you get a wrist on it, you got to keep it out, and he didn't get that strong wrist on. What game was that? That was
Real Madrid.
Real Madrid. Yeah.
But he just never. He's trying to save it with his arms alone. He never had his body behind the shot or moving.
Yeah, exactly.
It's literally
and
impossible.
Normally it's good. Normally he's good like that, but just obviously confidence. When you make a few mistakes, it leads to more mistakes. Look at De Gea. He was, how many seasons was he player of the season for Man United, and then
saving United easily 12 points.
I think
Yeah.
I think with Alisson, part of the problem is it's when you're playing with good defenders who are doing the right things, that helps you make your decision for you. So if you look at the goals in the Real Madrid one where they conceded, and especially that second one, he would not have expected two defenders to just stand still and let Vinicius walk across them and have a free shot. So I think the poor defending is affecting his decision making, his concentration levels. I think obviously he has to adjust to that, because that's what Liverpool have for the rest of the season.
In the same way that when you had Van Dijk, let's say Alisson was injured, you get a defender who's not got the confidence of a decent keeper behind him, someone like Adrian in the sticks, and then it affects his game as well. So it works both ways.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you there. In terms of Leeds, do you think Adil, they deserve to win that game with the amount of chances they create in the second half and their dominance?
I mean, the chances they created were clear cut. I mean, Roberts' one was unbelievable chance. I thought Bamford should have done better with the one he hit the bar with. I mean, the first touch was kind of poor. Let it go up, and he done well to even get over the ball enough to kind of lob the keeper. But I thought on the chances they created were quite clear cut. Even from set pieces, they looked a threat. Other than Salah, I mean, and there was one for Ox right at the end, which the ball was slightly slayed behind, and he wasn't willing to keep it on his left, tried maneuver to his right and lost the chance. But in general, on balance of how clear cut the chances were, I thought Leeds' chances were clear cut. Probably more clear cut than the chances Liverpool's one always felt like they were still under pressure, but the Leeds one seemed like they had beaten the defense completely, and it was just Alisson, and Alisson came up trumps.
Yeah. I mean, there's something I wanted to kind of touch upon there, which was said at the beginning of the game, Cam, with regards to Jurgen Klopp and the comment he made with regards to the Super League. Do you agree with his statement that he has come out with, and in terms of Gary Neville kind of spinning that to say he's gone completely against the owners?
Do you know what? I feel that he's in a tight spot. So he said what he could say without getting himself into any kind of trouble with the owners, which is fair play to him. And look, he doesn't want all these pundits basically blaming Liverpool as a club as a whole, and that's the point he's trying to make, right? So when you've got Leeds United fans, hurling abuse before the game or whatever outside the stadium and stuff, that was aimed towards the players when actually it should be towards this whole thing as a whole.
Towards the owner?
The owner, yeah.
Well, the banners all said FSG, but obviously,
But FSG on that bus when they're coming in. So that's what the fans need to realise. And to be honest, Liverpool fans would have done the same if it was vice versa. So
if it was a Champions League evening game, they would attack the bus.
It's already happened.
Throw a few bottles and cans, yeah.
The reason, Cam, I asked is because, I mean, did that really impact Liverpool in terms of their performance?
No.
So does it really matter in terms of what result they get, considering they will be going into the Super League? Does it really matter about them getting the Champions League?
But that's for the season after, isn't it? So that's the problem.
But the thing is, it's a tough one with this Super League. I mean, I disagree with it 100%. It's going to ruin football, right? But it comes down to the money, and this is what the owners are looking at: is look how much UEFA are getting, and if you look at the prize money for winning the Champions League, for example, it's a minuscule amount compared to what I think they make, like 3.3 billion something.
But Cam, a lot of those arguments are false arguments, because the whole negotiation and the revamp is correcting a lot of those things. And the other thing that people aren't factoring is since Seferin has come in, he's made it a point to be actually fair to all the European footballing bodies. So even the minnows are getting better treatment and getting more. So the slice of the budget is getting spread out.
But maybe
more
that's
evenly
what.
than it used to be.
But maybe
Now,
that's
it's
what the
become
club
more of a European competition because they're trying to be fair to everyone. They're not just trying to keep the pot for the main top 6 or 5 leagues in Europe. So I think in terms of it's frustrating even for us to watch some of the games against minnows and you beat them 5-6-0 with your backups. But the point is, some of those teams have improved over the years. And you look at this year, especially in the Europa Cup, Dynamo Zagreb knocking out Spurs, first leg Sparta doing good against Arsenal, knocking out Rangers. And
to be honest,
that extra finance is starting to make other European clubs a bit better.
But I do feel that those results have always been there. There's always shock results in the Champions League. You have to give those clubs the opportunity. So you're right.
But those clubs wouldn't make it to quarterfinals before. They might have been in the group stage of a dead rubber match. But now you're getting these teams actually getting out of the groups, beating some of the Champions League teams that get dropped out. But the whole point, the main argument to that is Alexander Seferin has made a point of being fair to all the FAs, the national FAs, in distributing the money. It's not, obviously the big clubs don't like it because they're the attraction, they're the ones that's bringing in most of the money. But the whole point of this is football is the whole game. It's the whole of Europe's Champions League. It's not just the big clubs. And next year they were actually going to get 30% going to just the big clubs of the fund money. That's irrespective of prize money. So I do think it was getting tackled.
Yeah. So do you think that this will go ahead? Do you think it's got enough legs without lawsuits and whatever? Do you think it will...
No, it's definitely going to go through law. I mean, there's going to be court cases about it. And I think once things have been signed, it's very difficult for them to go back. So I got feeling this will go, this might go ahead because it seems like the way they've announced it, it's going to take a lot of, humility for these clubs to back down. And I just don't see it in the owners. I don't think these owners, because they're pretty clear, they don't care about the traditions of the club. They don't care. And this is the thing that a lot of people don't understand is in America, these franchises, the club ain't born from fans straight away. It's born through an auction system. So the owners make the club from day one, and then they apply to go into the MLS or whichever league they're going for, and then they get a seat on the table. They get it. So it's in America, the actual clubs are created by the owners more than created by fans, and it's a totally different model in Europe. I mean, these clubs are actually clubs created by fans and locals from hundreds of years ago, from pre-war time, and the traditions are there. So it's a bit. I think the owners have got it wrong because they haven't understood that tradition, the history. It's not their baby. It's not their creation that they can just decide to do whatever they want.
But that's the thing. They don't care. They're American. They don't really.
And the frustrating thing is it's not even their own money.
It's just money.
But it's not even their own money. Like at least with Chelsea and Sheikh Mansour of Man City, they spend their own money. But the thing with a lot of the American owners is they just borrowed money from a bank, and then they get in the club to repay the loan to the bank.
And they're not actually inputting their own money. They're benefiting from the fact that the clubs their value is just going up and up and up.
And that's why they can take these loans out. Yeah. But ultimately, they've not put in any of their own capital in.
Exactly.
And that's the frustrating thing.
The more the clubs value that, the more they can
Borrow.
against it.
more money they
So-
can borrow. But that's the thing. I mean, it's interesting what you say, Adi, with regards to potentially the Super League going through. In terms of like the law or anything, surely someone like JP Morgan, they would have already looked into what could be the potential threat from UEFA, FIFA to block the move. So they would have done their homework. So they know what's coming and they've already prepared for it. I think what the biggest problem is, I think UEFA or FIFA are not prepared for it.
I think historically the big clubs have always beaten FIFA and UEFA in CAS, arbitration for sport. They've always, if you look at the most recent City case, I mean, they got humiliated. UEFA got humiliated in the report for their handling of the whole thing. They dismissed it. I mean, they completely ridiculed UEFA. So I think the owners must be confident. I know that FIFA's statements haven't been that strong on it. I mean, they're saying for the benefit of football, people should have respectful talks. That just means, that just makes me worried that, you know what, they're not fully, totally against this, because they're not coming out with the harsh statements they said last year when this first got proposed. Now it's actually officially been proposed. They've been very light in their statements.
Do you think that JP Morgan or the top clubs owners already have tapped up FIFA? That's what it seems like.
Well, I mean, the rumors of 8.6 billion being given to FIFA for the greater good of the game. These are all things that we know how FIFA runs. I mean, it's they're as corrupt as these American owners.
But that's what's so funny about this. It's like the blind leading the blind. Like, you've got corruption on one side and you've got corruption on the other. So then what? Do you know what I mean?
No, but the thing is, on the side of FIFA and UEFA, at least there's competitive values. You earn your right to play.
Financial fair play and so on.
Well, financial fair play doesn't really exist. I mean, Man City proved it because they broke it. And
but look, they've got something in place, haven't they? At least they've got something in place.
I mean, it's more on merit, though. It's a system of meritocracy. You finish well in your local league, then you get the perks of Champions League or Europe. This thing is just a complete monopoly. So I do think there's still even if both are corrupt, one is actually at least on merit, and the other thing is they, especially in UEFA's case, they are trying to balance the books and give more out. It's not, you can talk historically, historically they made loads of money and didn't share it out as much. But the new proposals prove that they were giving out willing to give out a lot more of the money to clubs. So I think it's a false argument to keep going on historical, because, at the end of the day, at least there are different clubs benefiting from it. This one is just the same 15 clubs benefiting, and it distorts every league. It distorts every league, because how is any of those leagues going to be competitive anymore? And that's why you're hearing figures of £1 million a week for Haaland, 800,000 a week for Pogba. It's because Mino Raiola knows that these clubs have now got silly amount of money.
Some of the agents are with them. Some of the top agents in sport are already with them, and they're siding by them. So
they're going to cherry pick the best players. So, national leagues are going to become, devoid. Really, it's not going to be a competition. It's not a competition they're even going to take seriously. They don't need it. I mean, Carragher made an excellent point. This game next year will have no meaning because Liverpool won't need to get into the Champions League. Their place is guaranteed.
Yeah.
I mean,
so on a competition level, I just think it's going to spoil the whole pyramid structure.
I mean, on every level, to be honest, if you look at it, it's just completely.
We don't know, because they're saying they're going to give a lot of money to the FAs and this and that. So you never know on the financial side.
But I mean, it's gonna blow up in terms of, even if someone was to buy a player, say for instance, if they were to go buy, say for instance, Madison. Leicester will just ask for silly money now because they know these clubs have a lot of money. So
Yeah, it's going to make them. The wages are going to get out of control, and the fees are going to get out of control again.
Oh, it's just a complete mess, to be honest, at the moment. But it looks like it's probably going to go forward because UEFA and FIFA are not really too strong on anything really. But guys, thank you both for coming on and sharing your views. Look forward to seeing you both soon. For all of you watching, please do subscribe, share, and get your family and friends to also share. Thank you.